Hey guys, John here. Look, I have Anthony here from ACS Universe. I also have the Western Wonder back over here again to do our Stranger Things Volume 2, Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2 spoiler review. And with further ado, let's go on ahead. Let's get on with this. Hey, what's up?
What up?
Hey.
What's good? What's good?
Hey, like I said, I have Anthony here from ACS. I have the Western Wonder here. And we're going to be doing our Volume 2 of Stranger Things Season 4. So let's just get into it, man. I mean, I loved where this thing was headed to. To me, this feels like Lord of the Rings. And basically, this is like the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King kind of era to me. Mm-hmm. Because of how they have everything set up. On that cliffhanger with Nancy, and we're thinking, hey, look, Nancy is going to be the one who winds up getting it, and of course Eddie is going to probably wind up being the one who saves her, but it winds up being the other way around to where it doesn't become predictable, which is something that I really did appreciate. But also too, it has this Nightmare on Elm Street kind of flavor to it, where basically you see Nancy inside the chair with Vecna, and Vecna's like, well, I want you to give me a message. I'm like, okay, this is totally Freddy Krueger vibes, where Freddy's telling TK to go ahead and send a message over to the survivors. So I like where they went with this. What do you guys think about the whole setup for the very first episode?
Yeah, I liked it, and also coming into this, I remember it because it came out last Friday, and it was a thing where normally I do a show on Friday night, so I was just like, yo, I can't. I have to, because I had to work last Friday, so I didn't want to, I avoided spoilers all day, and I was like, as soon as I get off work, I'm diving. And of course, we all know that the second two episodes, it's about 4 hours of content to try to take down in any period of time. So, but no, we I think we talked about it, John, too, on Great Scenes of All Time. It's this season has been absolutely incredible, and I was on cloud 9 waiting for the final 2 episodes that they had in store for us. So yeah, I was excited, and I thought that what was it, episode 7. Yes, for the first part, episode 7 ended in such a way that like they built everything up to get everybody excited for what's coming, and I thought they, pretty much lived up to it with what I saw.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you. I think it's been a very well done season. How things, once again, it's a calm before the storm kind of season. Everything kind of starts off coming, it just progresses to get just more and more things happen. And it just has you at the edge of your seat. I think that's a good thing that Stranger Things kind of has. It kind of gets you up in there. Anything can happen. Plot twist. There's a whole lot of things happening. So, watching those 2 episodes, it was a good thing there. And there wasn't a whole lot of hours to stomach compared to the first couple episodes. That was a bonus. I was enjoying it all the way. I was like, it's Stranger Things a bust here. I got to finish this up. See what happens.
Nice.
But yeah, man, like for real, I was at my fiance's house, as a matter of fact, and I was trying to avoid spoilers all day. And she goes, we're gonna go ahead and watch Stranger Things. Like, okay, I felt like a 10-year-old kid. Like, okay, yeah, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this, because I've been dodging things like the Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, trying to avoid all the spoilers. But though, my favorite thing too about this episode too is it's actually called Papa, and of course you actually see the stuff that Papa's doing to 11. And also too, you kind of agree with Papa, and then you also kind of agree with the scientist. It's like, which one do you actually go with? You know what I mean? Because of the fact that it's like a tug of war. You're in the middle of it, just like 11 is, trying to process everything. It's like, do I go on ahead? I stay here with Papa, and my power's really not that powerful to stop Vecna, or do I go ahead and side with the scientist? My friends are in danger, and I need to go. Regardless, and do I just ignore everything that Papa said? So I was kind of in the middle. I'm like, okay, I kind of agree with Papa, but I also kind of siding for the scientist. And I decided if I was at that moment, I would actually side with the scientist over the fact with Papa, because of the fact that her powers have overly developed. and everything 10 times stronger than what she was in the first 3 seasons. So that's something that I really do appreciate, the fact that the powers are amped up even more. And also too, this also to me feels like Carrie meets Starfighter Fire and also meets It as well, because we'll get into why I feel like that is a little bit of It and a little bit of Carrie later on with the second episode. But I thought this episode was very clean. I thought it was really smart about how they did it. And what about you guys? What was your thoughts going into it with Papa, with the struggle with 11 and stuff like that?
Yeah, I thought it was it's obviously with this show, it was well done. It was perfectly done. And the little back and forth between 11 and Papa right there in the room with the what's the thing called? The little machine she gets in. You know, I'm talking about like damn it.
I call it the Wolverine tub machine, but that's what
that's a good time.
Hey, what's up, Meg?
What up, Meg? What's good? What's good? Joey in the house too.
All right.
My world's finest co-host in the house. But yeah, no, I thought that was one of the most interesting parts of that. Obviously, the episode gets pretty dark towards the end, but I thought that the back and forth between her, when you actually saw Papa cry, like he had tears rolling because 11 was basically telling the truth, like, you've done these things and this thing. And so also when it came to her talking about him creating number one and stuff like that. So I thought it was great, that little back and forth. And then I when that scene concluded, of course, you see that she loses consciousness and then Papa kind of regains consciousness. And then, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later on when she woke up with the collar around her neck. But I thought it was great.
Yeah. What about for you, Weston?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, the whole setup, just the dialogue and the back and forth was very tense. Especially the side twist when, and I feel kind of bad because I've been binging this other popular hit show on another streaming network. I don't know if I can say the name or not, but Netflix might be watching me, so who knows? But when Papa injects her, I was like, oh no, we're trying to put her on compound V or V for Vecna. But it just goes from that the intense back and forth to like a whole outdoor scene where they're battling it out, and there's like a whole military force trying to take them out. It kind of just turns to like a whole Michael Bay movie with the explosions. I was waiting. I knew something was inevitable. I was like, I wonder if he's gonna have his part here. And of course, 11, finally gets the superpowers recharged, and boom, the biggest.
It goes in full force, man.
Yes, it was epic visual eye candy. What can I say? I mean, Michael Bay was probably crying at home.
On his drone that he filmed the ambulance on, but but you know what though? I like the action sequences in the desert and everything too, because you're not sure if 11's friends are actually going to get there in time, and of course you have that thing with Will and also Mike, and he's trying to open up to Mike and everything, and all he is concentrating on is basically 11. But he's not just talking about himself. He's trying to comfort his friend. And that's what I saw with that. I was like, oh, Mike's such a douchebag, a ball bag. I said, no. I said, all he's trying to do is comfort Mike. Hey, look, you're stronger than what you think you are. And everything. You don't need superpowers. All she wants is for you to be there and comfort her.
Yeah. That was also from that particular episode. That was one of the most powerful scenes. Besides everything else that happened, especially at the end of it when Papa was dying, and obviously 11 comes up and has her final words with him. I think that as they were getting to that point, to the spot in the desert or whatever, I think that was that scene, especially then when Will shows Mike finally the thing that he's been drawing, and he pulls it out, and it's like you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, it's dope. And so like I think so like I powers of development, a lot of sport power. Yeah. No, but I think that was because also from what you just were talking about that Will said to Mike once the that I don't want to say the scene was over because it wasn't, but after they got done with their conversation, then you saw how Will turned to the window of the van and like he kind of broke down or whatever, because what I'm saying, I got he has his feelings for Mike and stuff, and I think he knows that what he said to him was exactly what he needed to hear, because that's what you do for a friend, man. Mike is his friend, and he hated to see him in pain at the moment before he said that stuff to him. And then so like once he tells him that, gives him the picture and all of that things, he said, "That's you right there. You know, you're leading us," and all of that stuff. That was powerful, dude. Like I was watching that, like when I was like, "Oh man, this is great. This is just another indication of the Duffer Brothers in the writing that they and I think they've gotten better. As much as I love the first season, the Stranger Things, I think they've gotten better over the course of the show as far as writing personal moments like that. And I thought that was incredible, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But Western, what about your thoughts on it?
Absolutely. From that scene, you know, it took a while, but there were a lot of like moving scenes. I feel like they saved the last part. They said, let's just take that acting power to like 200, you know. Everybody's just acting and their behinds off here. And, you know, it's very emotional, you know. You know, the characters that were beloved, you know, new character that was coming in, you know, Eddie and of course Max, you know. It was painful. It was very emotional moments there. Yeah, it almost got me there. But yeah, a lot of moving moments here.
That part for me was very moving, but also too is some very relatable for people that have friendships and stuff like that value friendships. So that's something that I really liked. Then, of course, another thing that I thought that was actually pretty funny was Gorgile and them trying to with the pizza van and stuff like that, trying to come up to them during this military convoy and leave it to the stoner to actually find the tracks.
Yeah.
To find the convoys and stuff like that. But that was something that I really liked with that. And of course, the whole rescue mission. And then 11 crashing the helicopter, like you said, Anthony. And then after that, you wind up having the collar around her neck. And then she winds up taking the collar off her neck. And then she winds up going with them after Papa dies. And I thought that was a very good conclusion to Papa's story.
Yeah.
And that was it. Now you can actually focus on growing the show without having any continuity in with Papa. Now you can focus full force on the other characters. So that's something that I really liked. And then I like the chemistry between Eddie and Steve, especially whenever it's improv.
Man, dude,
because whenever they go, my favorite line that that Mike I think says, he goes, "Yeah, we're gonna go over to this ammo place, and there's not gonna be any rednecks or anything." I'm like, wait,
Are you sure about
that? No, we saw what happened when they got there. Yeah. No, I thought, that was that all of that setup was every look, we could look at these last two episodes and one of them was like hour 35 minutes and the last one was like 240 or something along those lines. And I think every bit of that was needed, story wise, character development, because we've seen like these characters grow up and then they get to this certain point, and I think like all of the extra stuff that was in there was a lot of little extra small things that they put in there that probably pushed the runtime a bit. I didn't care because I was already prepared to sit down for 4 hours and watch Stranger Things on Friday, so I knew that it was coming. But I think that stuff it makes a difference, man, and that's just another big ups to the Duffer Brothers for their writing abilities and their ability to take a show that, and I've said it before, like season 1 was top tier for me. Season 2 and 3 were fire, but they weren't on that same tier. But this one is absolutely, it's stratosphere type. So, but like them being able to navigate that, and I'm sure, I mean, you see a lot of when you have a lot of people who are in the business and do stuff like that, like writing or directing or any kind of shows or movies or whatever. I think sometimes they try to say that they kind of don't watch, the room or what people have to say about it. I think they did though. I think they did. And because, like I said, season 1 was such a phenomenal smash hit that season 2, it was going to be hard for that to live up. And then season 3 to try to live up to season 2 and 1. So I think this one, the fact that they went back to the drawing board was like, yo, let's do this. It's absolutely fire. But as far as what we're talking about with the end of the episode, it was dope. I thought like you just said, John, Papa's story was absolutely. It had a start and end. It had an arc, and when I think a lot of symbolism when he let go of the collar off of 11, and she looks over and she sees that it was him that let the collar off her. I think that was pretty much him saying, "You're ready." Because he had said she wasn't ready, and that when we were just talking about that one scene where they were going back and forth, and he said she wasn't ready. I think that was at the time he was like, "Okay, you just brought this chopper down, you're ready."
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. It is very reminiscent to season 3 when she's trying to pull that train. Season 2, whenever she tries to bring that train to her, and you could tell she's struggling with the train, but with this, like I said, the powers are amped up to at least 10 on this. And she has no problem destroying a convoy or anything that comes in her path.
Yeah.
But going ahead, Western.
Hey, absolutely. Everything that you're saying there. I mean, from the emotional moments to the visual master classes. The reunions especially was another real highlight for me. It was another emotional part of the heart, especially like when Hopper and 11 reunited. He said something along the lines of, hey, hey kid, I kind of took your look or something along the lines of that. I thought that was adorable.
That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Just the whole reunion scenes.
The reunion stuff is fantastic, to be honest with you, and we'll get into that. We're going to get into that too now with other stuff, because here's the thing. Like I said, I like the stuff with the ammo. I like the redneck store and things like that, and then of course planning out the fate. And then of course you wind up seeing Eddie hot wiring a car, and he goes, "Well, you know what my old man taught me what to do." He goes, he didn't want me to go down this path that he's on, but you know what? I already committed everything already, so might as well just go all in. So he goes fully committed, hot wires the car, gets Steve to drive the car, and that's also improv as well. And that wasn't even in the script. So that was something that was really cool. And then finally we get to see the plan being drawn out on the different phases that they were doing.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I also enjoyed, like, once the plan was coming to phase. I love how Nancy took the wheel on all of that. You know what I mean? Because she was the one, because she had been there, and she was like you were mentioning earlier when Vecna had her. He was like, "I'm not gonna kill you. I'm basically just you tell your friends about me." You know what I mean? Old Batman scene where you tell all your friends about me or whatever. But it was like, he gave her that power to tell her. And that's another thing that, like, when you go back and think about those small details, and I'm sure once we get to the end of this discussion, we'll talk about that. But it's like the fact that he said that to her, it's almost like his line at the very end when he says, "You guys have already lost." When he tells 11 that, once she's clapping him, because she has him, and I'm sure we'll get to that. But when he says, "Well, you guys have already lost," that like triggered some shit, like as I thinking about it, like, ooh. And when you say that scene that we were just talking about, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's he might have already, what is going on here? That's the thing. The good thing about Stranger Things is that, obviously 2 years. We got about 2 years.
Yeah, probably we'll be about 65, 75 right. I'm like, oh, there's Stranger Things.
80 years old, but it'll be all right. They can CGI that.
You got 5 different spin-offs of different shows that are popular right now. What's going on?
You have to put in your hearing aid to listen to it. They're like, "Yo, can you hear that?" I think it might be, But go ahead, John.
Yeah, man. Here's the thing. The good news about it being 2 years is the fact that before it used to be 5 years for us to watch just a Sopranos show.
Yeah.
So at least with 2 years, I'm okay with 2 years as long as it's the beginning of the 2024 marker and not any more than that. Because you're going to have people waiting for the show. And as a matter of fact, they're just now starting to write the script out. As well. So you have that going on. But I like how they place these characters in situations. And like you mentioned before, Anthony, was this, like the part where he goes, "Oh, why are you celebrating?" and everything. This is just the beginning of the end for you guys.
Yeah.
And we never had a threatening character like Vecna on Stranger Things. We always dealt with the Demigordons. We dealt with the Flair and stuff like that. but we never dealt with someone that was actually a step of the other group of kids or anything like that either. And I like how they go into this thing with. I actually felt a sense of danger for these kids because of the fact that you have Steve, you have Robin, you have Nancy inside Vecna's house, and he said, "What? What makes you think that you're smarter than me? I'm 10 steps ahead of you." And then you see the roots of the house smashing up against, putting these characters up against the wall where they're basically being strong, basically just killing them and everything because of the strength that it has. And then you're having that sense of danger. Oh my God, are they really not going to make this thing out alive? What's going to happen? Because I like the fact, because before you can actually get a sense of feeling, okay, these characters are going to make it out alive. Even with the first 3 seasons. This one is like, okay, anyone can die at any given moment because of how scary Vecna actually is. And the thing that was, another thing that was actually heartbreaking for me was like, oh my God, when you see Harper on the ground, and he's on there with the Demigorgon, I have flashbacks of Bob, just like how Kim Basinger's character has, Joyce has. And I'm like, oh my God, is he not going to make it? And all of a sudden you see Joyce coming over there to help out. I'm like, okay, thank God. And so, I liked how they did that.
Yeah, no, because she's seen it before, so that's
right.
Yeah, no. Winona Ryder is fire. They still give Winona top billing on the show too, which is fire too. I like to see, like, whenever the opening starts, Winona Ryder is the first name you see. But no, I think that she has the experience. She did get to see. Is it? It's not. Is it Sean Astin?
Yeah, Sean Astin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So she's seen him get taken down by Demogorgon. So like when the scene that you're talking about, when Hopper's on his back and the Demogorgon's there, I think she was like, I'm not gonna let this happen, twice. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take care of my man this time. And so that's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
But what stood out for you though, Western, on some of the other scenes too?
Well, I'm glad there was a lot more focus on, a lot of more heartful scenes. There were some humorous bits here and there, but it wasn't hitting as much as it was with the first volume. I think kind of looked like it took a little bit of a backseat, but definitely like some moments to kind of fill in between, like, let's not get too intense here. Let's just have a little bit of let's just take a seat back down, and then it just progresses back. So the mood switches from back and forth. One moment you might be emotional, one minute you might be angry, another minute you might be, good in a great mood. I think it's all flown well together. I think the biggest mystery that I like, how they do it every other season, there's some kind of threat just lurking amongst us. Like, it miraculously just started snowing out of the blue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was dope. It was dope that happened. And
snow.
It was. I think it was. It's not. Yeah. No. It's. Nancy's mom was with the. Was it Nancy's mom that was looking out the window with the daughter, and she was like, "Oh, it's snowing."
It's snowing.
And yeah. And I was like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. And that's what I said to my fiance. I'm like,
probably it's ash. Probably about the seas burning.
And I'm going by our date. Snow on July the 1st.
No, definitely not. Like I saw not Shawshank Redemption, wrong movie. What's that? Schindler's List. I'm like, okay, they're Schindler listing this thing. I said no. That's not snow, girl. That is actually ashes. And I'm just thinking to myself, what are they burning? What's going on here? Because you don't know the severity of what Vecna has done, other than the earthquake and stuff like that. But then you realize the upside down is actually coming into our world. So now it's basically a apocalyptic kind of world now that we're going to be living in. And now the adults have to fight on Vecna and everything too. So now you have humans versus these Demogorgons, and who's going to win? Yeah. So now you have this war going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought. I think. Look, it's. There's a reason why we're live streaming right now talking about Stranger Things, man. It's absolutely incredible, and it's a thing where like what's happened in the previous seasons, it was dope. But I think this one they took it to another level, and it's also apparent with stuff like even with what me and John rewatched on the greatest scenes was the running up that hill, the scene where they almost took Max, and I think we talked about it after it was done. We were like, I hope they don't do all of this and then like kill Max
and that's exactly what they they were aiming for. And I'm like, because I was like, oh my god, they're totally doing what Anthony's hoping that they wouldn't do, and with me as well.
Yeah.
And I had such an emotional roller coaster over this thing. Where another thing too is whenever you have the piggyback part, I'm like, okay, is this gonna work? Because Max is thinking of a different memory.
Yeah.
And then you have 11 jumping in to piggyback off of her. I'm like, that's two other memories and one memory. Is that just going to be too much to the point where Vecna's going to be able to overshadow Max? My sci-fi brain was not turning off because I was like, is this going to work or is this not going to work? Because of the fact that Vecna can actually invade her mind. But also, too, I was actually surprised that Vecna didn't pick up on 11's mind until, like, after when she's revealed. Because he's supposed to be so knowing in the knowing of what's going on. But although I don't think that he was expecting someone to go into a piece of dough freezer to go in.
She's laying in the tub to what I called it with my mother, Titanic water. Like, where's Leonardo DiCaprio? He's somewhere in there.
Yeah. No, I think that also lead that the line I said earlier where he said, "You guys have already." That's all of this stuff, and it's crazy because as I was watching it, like you take in what you're watching, but then like it's after you watch it where you actually have an opportunity to like rewatch. Like even if you're not actually rewatching it, you can rewatch it in your head and just think about some of the things. And I keep going back when he said, "You guys have already lost." It's crazy considering what you just said. I mean, you just like she changed the setting to the ballroom to the prom dance or whatever, and he still came in there, and you were like, well, 11 showed up, but then like he's still at the end, he's still like, you've already lost. Like it's such a thing to like, because she make no mistake about it, she clapped him when he came into the gym and was messing with Max. Once she got there, she destroyed him, and threw him into the bleachers and all of that shit. I was like, yo, it's really good.
And even Vecna was like very surprised at that. He goes, "What the hell just happened? I had the upper hand."
Hey, if you're gonna be big and mighty like Thanos, you gotta take that
exactly. Gotta eat your Wheaties, dude. Gotta eat your Wheaties.
But go ahead.
But no, another thing that and we're gonna talk about Eddie in a few minutes, Tamika, and I'll get to all your comments and everything too, even Joey too. We're gonna get into that in a few minutes. But another thing that I have to say that was actually pretty cool was she changed the music up to where it was the 1980s, which is the Police, which is Everywhere I Go, I'm Watching You. But I'm like, that's a stalker song. So basically, Vecna is stalking her through the music of every move you make, I'm watching you. Every single move I make, every single move that your friends make, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
So I lost my mind on that part. Then also, too, when the balloons started popping, it reminded me of It. And then you also have that happening. And then it also reminds me of Carrie because of the prom, because of the blood. So it has a Stephen King kind of Nightmare on Elm Street meets Hellraiser kind of vibe to it, which is something I really dug about this season. And I'm also the strange person that likes watching haunted houses where people go into like old spooky haunted houses. So this actually set everything up for me to enjoy even more. But okay, let's talk about Eddie real quick, though, too, with the Metallica song, because I feel like that's something that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Cinema. I know it's not a movie.
Cinema.
With the runtime, you can think it is a movie. But
I'll talk about my thoughts on that too as well towards the end. But no, you said cinema, and this is the thing we do on World's Finest when we talk about cinema. You just that was dope. I think Eddie's scene at the top of the trailer was absolutely fire.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things where I'm like, I'll never forget that happened. Because look, when I'm watching, like I said, I watched it and a lot of my friends had already watched it early Friday. So I got out, like I said, I got off work, went to the gym, worked out real quick, came straight home, maybe something to eat, and I was like, let's go. And I just turned it on. And I remember I was anticipating getting to that moment just because if you follow like Stranger Things' Twitter or their any other social media, they put shit out there and it's just like, yo, get hype, for whatever. And so when as soon as the scene started, they boarded up the fucking trailer. They got everything good. They got on the roof. He when he picked his guitar up, he was like, I guess some things, the upside down can't mess with because his guitar was in perfect condition. And they got up there, set everything up, and he was just like, and then once he started doing it, dude. And it also what added to the scene, not only his guitar playing, obviously he playing some Metallica and stuff, and it was dope. But like, I think Dustin's like, when he was calling out the stuff, he was like, all right, we got 30 seconds. And he was calling it out to like when the bats, I'll call them bats, whenever they would
Demon
get there.
bats, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, look, my thoughts on that to just boil it down to one word is fire. I think that's one of the best things I've ever seen watching a television show in my entire life. And I hate to use the word television show because, the series like air on other things as far as apps and stuff of that nature. But I think as far as watching something like that and I'd put it right alongside one of my favorites. And that's Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones. I don't know if you guys are Game of Thrones fans. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, it's that epic of a moment where when he starts playing it, and obviously you see what's happening, and look, the VFX are dope, and it's all just perfect. It's perfect. And I don't know what they got planned for the 5th season, but I don't know if that scene,
I don't know how they can top that, man, because this
scene is very good. It's good.
Like, I think they should just let it go, but I know there's still some story left to wrap up.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. No, we got more to come, but I'm saying like yes. Hopefully they don't try to top that. They just go with the story and do. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I feel like with them doing 2 music numbers, and which is expensive as hell to get those rights to those songs,
right?
Especially with Metallica, because if you remember with Napster and stuff like that, I was actually surprised that Metallica allowed them to use their music to begin with.
Oh,
but then you have Kate Bush. You have 2 songs that they use perfectly well placed. And to be honest with you, this is a season that needed to be a cinematic experience for us as Stranger Things fans on a smaller screen, on a smaller scale. And I'm hoping that they don't go and try, let's go, since we put 2 musical numbers into it, let's go ahead and do it again. No, I don't think Duffer Brothers are going to do that, because even confirmed too that, we had some big hour episodes and stuff like that, 2 hours long. They said they weren't going to do that. So it seems like they're kind of, okay, we built our arc around, this is basically the Avengers. This is basically in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame in the Stranger Things world.
Yeah.
To where you have this story arc of part 1 and part 2. We're done with telling that storyline, and now we're going to focus on the big bad. We're going to focus on Vecna and everything else he's going to be doing within the Upside Down meeting the real world. So that's what I'm thinking that's going to wind up taking place. I don't think we're going to get those big numbers, which is something that I'm hoping that they don't do. But, I think this is an overall perfect season. I didn't feel the runtime with the show at all or anything like that, because if I'm checking my watch in a movie or whatever, that means that I'm like, okay, I think I left dinner on the table. I need it. What else did I leave on? But with this, but this was so fire though, man. This was excellent, guys. Then another thing that I wanted to touch base on was then you actually see the fight scene between Erica's brother in this show though too, finally leading up to ball bag douchebag and stuff like that. And Lucas wants out. Lucas wants out throwing hands, and I'm like, okay, it's about time that you start throwing hands at him.
Yeah, because I was getting pissed off with him. I was like, do I need to jump in and make up a Netflix character for myself and just say random pedestrian and just start beating up people and just jump back into the screen? Like, I'll carry on. I just had to throw hands.
I feel you, man. I feel you 1000%. Once he took the upper hand in that, I was in full cheer mode to say the least. Like when that shit, and also, I'm sure we'll talk about the end of this.
All right, we will.
All right.
So I'm gonna get into a couple of live questions, stuff like that, and then we'll jump back into the actual thing. So Joey says, "I like that. No matter how much time has gone by and how much has changed, Jonathan still knows his brother and knows when something is weighing on him." That was an emotional scene.
That was fire. That was when the scene started. I knew it was coming just because you seen that Mike had not Mike, but Will had looked out, and the 11 and Mike and the stoner dude were having a moment with the pizza, with the pineapple pizza. And so I saw that it was coming, but then once he started talking to him, I was like, "This is real quick." Anybody out there who thought that like the last 2 episodes there was like lean meat in there that they could cut out, maybe, but not that. You know what I'm saying? Scenes like this were incredible. It almost had nothing to do with like the actual plot of what they were trying to get done, but like. When he started talking to Mike or to Will, and they had that embrace, and then he was like, I remember when you used to come to me with things and you don't anymore. I was just like, man, it's dope. The writing is fire. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, you came to me with Larry stuck up your nose, which is his Lego. Yeah. And he goes, "You used to come with me for more stuff." He goes, "Why don't you come to me more?" Mm-hmm. And it's just like as a teenager or stuff like that, you don't go to your parents for everything. You wind up trying to face things on your own because you're your own man and you don't want to feel embarrassed. Right, and that's exactly what he feels with his brother Jonathan. He doesn't want to have to feel like he's a burden because, and in fact, Will's been through a shit ton of stuff in the last 3 years of his life and see Stranger Things to the point where he's like, you know what?
You think?
Right. He's like, you know what? I don't need to bother you with my burdens. Let my burdens be my burdens, and you go your way, I go my way. We don't meet in between. Mm-hmm. So that.
Oh, froze up a bit. Oh, maybe he'll be back.
Maybe he won't. We'll see.
In his absence, I will until he gets it straight. Yeah, I'll say also that scene, especially because they were like stirring salt, which is it's so weird to say, but like they had to put the salt in the water so that she would be able to like transcend her physical.
Absolutely, just transform into it.
Yeah. So it was like when they had that bonding moment, I was like, this show, Jesus Christ.
Oh, there's 2 of you.
You back? Nah, just yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Nah, but like we were just talking about that moment of them stirring the salt, and that bonding moment between them was pretty fire because you saw what had up. It's crazy because you saw that he was looking back at Will the entire season. Whatever happened, he always kept looking at Will like, man, I need to talk to him. You know what I'm saying? And then finally he did, and it was a absolutely perfect scene. Yeah, I loved it.
Most definitely. Yeah. So like I was saying before, though, before we had some tech issues, Tamika says, if you guys were facing Vecna, what would be your plan of attack?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
First off, I want to know what my go-to music song would be because I don't have a clue what that would be.
You know what? And there's a lot of songs. There's a lot of Run the Jewels that run through my head. There's a lot of old school hip hop and stuff. But I tell you what, man, the song Everlong by Foo Fighters, that shit would bring me out of anything. I'm a big, I love that song Everlong by Foo Fighters. I love it. So like if something was going down with Vector, throw those in my headphones, I will wake up. May not make it back like Max did, but yeah.
Yeah, co-signing with him. Anything old school. I probably have to give Vecna a break with running up that hill or break my soul. I just don't give it no pop song. So it's like, here we go again.
For me, it would actually be. For me, it would be. But no, for me, it would be like "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana.
Yeah.
That would be my go-to.
That shit hits too. It hit. Yo, "Smells Like Teen Spirit" it hits big time. Like if somebody's playing it live or if anybody's playing it live or you hear it on some big speakers, when that shit kicks in, it's fire. Yeah,
most definitely.
Yeah.
Tamika also asked,
See, I like the fact that all the characters, no matter
piece of one whole, which is Vecna from Russia to Vegas to a pizza shop.
Pizza shop. That sounds like a world tour.
Yeah, it is. Hey, that's exactly what it is, man. Yeah. The once they figured out when they were talking about they figured out that if we can just hurt a piece of him from this side of the planet, that shit would be dope. So that was great too. That was great.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'd like to see though? I would like to see a Clerks version of Gorgile and just Jonathan talking back and forth in the 80s and just have it set in the 80s. That's what I'd like to have.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Have like a spin-off show just on them just making pizza and having conversations.
Kind of like Cheech and Chong, but one of them's got to be the straight man. That's not always.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. He was like, "Yo, we got something for you if you want to step out of the pizza shop for a second." He was like, "Yeah."
You know, this is exclusive. This just hit the market.
Let's see here. Tamika also says, "I like Eddie. This was the redemption moment to sacrifice himself for the greater good. His uncle finding out about his death was really sad. I wish his name would be
Let's see, cleared, but
cleared."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I think that particular moment, because at the time I thought to myself, they're always going to think of Eddie as this dude who probably, murdered his cheerleader or whatever, and they're not going to give him his just, you know what I'm saying? And so I'll go ahead and say it. I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but that scene between Dustin and Eddie's uncle was absolutely incredible. When he was like, he took the pages down because people had defaced him or whatever, and put a new one up, and then Dustin steps to him and says, "Yo, I knew him. He's a fucking hero." That's done. Literally, I was sitting there and I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those fire moments. You're like, "Yo, am I gonna fucking cry in this bitch? Or what the fuck?"
Breathe.
I came close to crying quite a few times in this series, in this season on volume 2.
Yeah.
With Eddie dying, that part with the redemption part from Dustin to let his uncle know, "Hey, look, your nephew was a hero. He saved this town."
Yeah.
And then also then you also have the stuff with Hopper meeting up with 11 and stuff like that. That got to me as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. I think they ended it perfectly. Because look, it's with a show like this and what they've done with the first half of the season, it's very easy to like mess that up, because that was obviously something that they had written in, and they were just like, "Yo, so at the end of this, before we lead you guys into the final season, this is the last things you're going to see is these sort of meetings at this cabin, at the place where Elle and Hopper used to live." And I thought that was dude, all of it was just, it was great. It was great. And obviously, you feel kind of bad for what's his name? Steve? Is it Steve?
Yes, yeah, Steve.
Yes, because what's the name came back, and him and Nancy had their moment, and I was like, "Oh man, Steve is putting that work, bro. He's been out here. He's the hero. Steve is the hero." So like, I think no matter what happens, this is jumping real far forward. I think personally, no matter what happens at the end of this series, I think that Eddie will get recognized as one of the heroes of Hawkins. You know what I'm saying?
So
whether something comes out and they raise a statue, whatever the case may be, I don't think that they'll not recognize, because the only person, there's two people who knows he's a hero right now. That's Dustin and his uncle. So those are the only two people who like know that he didn't do what everybody else thinks he did. So I think that's fire.
Yep, justice for Eddie, man.
Yo, justice.
Definitely.
Poor kid.
I felt bad for Eddie, and also too, I actually talked about this on Volume 1 with Western though too. I remember back in the 80s and everything else too, when I was growing up, oh, you better not be playing that devil game, D&D and stuff like that, and things like that. So it's very reminiscent to the childhood I had of where you had parents trying to protect their babies from a fantasy game. Yeah. So I remember that very clearly, and then it's very reminiscent to how they play it off in this season of Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. But another thing too that we needed that I wanted to talk about too was whenever we actually do see 11 and with the reunion and things like that, whenever she said, I leave the door 3 inches every single day, making sure that got to me. And then like Western said earlier, when you wind up seeing Hopper, he goes, I see you lost weight. Mike says, oh, I see you lost weight. And then he goes, yeah, I see you got taller.
all of those interactions were good, man.
Definitely. Well, that's everything as far as I had wanted to talk about with Stranger Things Volume 2 goes. And then, of course, we have some of the side characters and stuff like that, where we have Murray, we have those guys. There's one last thing I want to mention. I was actually thinking that the sword that Hopper picked up was from He-Man. It's actually been confirmed that's actually from Conan.
Yeah, I thought it was a He-Man sword. I did. I saw the I don't know what they call that right outside the handle of it, but I thought it was. So she was shocked as hell that I was at the end of fucking part 1. I was like,
plot twist.
Like yeah. I kind of expected it to a certain extent, but at the same time, when I did actually see the tattoo reveal itself, I was like, yo, this is reached levels that I was not even prepared for right now.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I think that's going to be it as far as everything that we wanted to talk about over here. But if you guys want to, go ahead. If you guys want to go ahead and check out Volume 1 of our review, you guys can go ahead and check this out on our channel as well. And of course, you can also check out Anthony and our reaction on his channel for the greatest moments and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. And that's gonna. Wrap everything up. Of course, Anthony.
And then he's out again.
Yeah.
You good now? All right.
There you go.
Yeah. Before I did want to say that I appreciate you having me on, dude. This has been fire, dude. I Strange Things, always absolutely love talking about it, and it's especially with this because with Stranger Things, there are between season 1 and 2 and between season 2 the gap wasn't as big as between seasons 3 and 4, just because we had a pandemic, we had all kinds of worldwide problems that led to it being such a big drought between those 2 seasons. And when we finally got this one, and it was beyond expectations, and I'm glad to talk to guys who liked it just as much as I do, because it's absolutely dope. And I do want to say this. I don't know if next season they'll put anything in theaters. I think that they might be grooming us towards such a thing, just because I think the longer episodes from this past season, which most of them were an hour or longer, and obviously we just saw that the last 2 episodes were feature length, pretty much an hour and a half and then 2 hours or something. So and also that the final shot that we got to see from this season was cinematic. I can't even. You had 11 standing there. You had most of the characters there. Obviously, there's a couple missing, Caleb, because he's at the hospital with Max and stuff of that nature. But you got to see this big thing where it was overlooking them, and you saw Hawkins, and it was it just looked like a movie
Cinema.
Cinema. Yes. Yeah, dude. Yes. Western cinema. Yes. It looked very good. And I think they're going to capitalize on that, because I'm 45 years old. Y'all might think I'm a 45-year-old dude. I've been around for a minute. I've seen a lot of movies in theaters, and I've seen I was around in the 80s when you know, it was the blockbuster era with you Terminators and all that kind of shit. I do remember sitting in theaters and seeing something very similar to the end of season 4 of Stranger Things, like looking at it and thinking, yo, this is cinematic. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if they choose to end the series, maybe put all the episodes in that next season on Netflix, and then they choose to end it in theaters, I will be 1000% satisfied with that, because I think it bodes well for it. They led us to this, you know what I'm saying? They've led us throughout this season, like, yo, here's some longer episodes. Here's some and also I think Netflix was just Duffer Brothers, you need more of this, and that's what you want to do, because it looks very, very, very well.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know, I feel like you mentioned though, Anthony, I'm 37 years old. I've been around with the blockbusters, 90s blockbusters and stuff like that as well. So I've been around that era though too. And it does feel like this is actually a cinematic universe type of thing, to where you can actually put this on the big screen, and I would actually be there to actually put this on there. Oh, yeah, I'll be the first in line.
I'm watching whatever they do with this final season. I'm watching it wherever it's at.
Let's see. Brandy asked, do you think that Nancy looks like Stacey Keenan from My Two Dads?
Yeah, she does. Also, she looks like a lot of actresses from that era too. She looks like she does. Like, I think and if you ever see her like regular, doesn't look like that at all. But she does, with the way they did her hair and her look and everything. She was another perfect casting, man. Another perfect casting. You know, hopefully I get, you know, I'm still around when this season comes out. I can be like, yo, I'd like to shout out all of the actors and actresses, producers, directors, everybody who did this show, because it's there's a reason why we're talking about it right now.
Exactly.
It's great. It's great, man.
And the Duffer Brothers knows what they're doing. And I like the fact that they're two brothers doing this, and they can both share the stress level and not letting it be off of one person.
Yeah.
And they can kind of counterbalance everything. So that's something that I really like. That's also why I like the Russo brothers so much too. So when it comes down to directing and things like that. But anyways, that's going to be it as far as the show goes. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate Anthony coming on here as always. I do appreciate the Western Wonder coming on here again as always. But yeah, Thursday night we're going to be doing our Miss Marvel review with Rossie. She's going to be on the show with me on Thursday night. And then we have a couple of other things that we're going to try and do. So we're just going to go ahead, keep the schedule moving, and see what we have. So always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And bye.
Exactly.